So a super cheap discless Xbox One is all but confirmed to be coming this May. And I'm telling you, Microsoft is testing the waters to see if they even need an optical drive in their next-gen consoles. More than likely it will begin with one, but later on, it's going to be a completely digital distribution future, especially for next-gen. Let's get into it.
Skip it up and that up.
So in November of last year, I feel like it was 5 minutes ago I made that video. I literally could picture being here recording that video. Like, what the hell happens to time? There were rumors that Microsoft was going to be releasing a discless Xbox One this spring. Well, guess what? It's March, and spring is right around the corner, and it seems like it's still happening. Now, some of the rumors we heard back then about it is that it would be cheaper than the Xbox One S. It would be $199. And it would just have a hard drive in it and you would download games. There would be no disk drive. And the interesting thing about it, and this is with the newer article I have here that's kind of now says it's going to come in May. The article comes from comicbook.com, is that they had a disk to digital program. What Microsoft is going to do is if you have, I don't have an Xbox One game right here with me. If you want to have an Xbox One game, you could go to a Microsoft licensed store or a Microsoft store, hand in the game, they give you a code, you could go home and download that game. So you trade in your disc, you get the game, you get a code for the game, and you can download it. So if you have a whole bunch of physical games, want to get rid of them, just want to download them to your hard drive, boom, you could do that. Just make sure you have external storage because 1 terabyte of storage or even 2 terabytes is definitely not going to be enough, especially if you have a large Xbox One collection. Now, the code name for this console is Maverick, but what the official name is going to be is the Xbox One S All Digital Edition. That just rolls right off the tongue. Now, pre-orders for the Xbox One S All Digital Edition will start in mid-April, and the console will release worldwide in all global markets in May. So it's coming, a $200 or $199.99 US dollar discless Xbox One. And I am sure that Microsoft is testing the waters to see how many people will actually invest in this and see how successful it is and how many people it will actually make more inclined to sign up for Xbox Game Pass, which is $9.99 a month. So they get that continual revenue from you. I'm telling you, this console is the testing grounds or the testing the water for all of these things with the discless Xbox One S. Or let's just say it again because it's fun and it takes 20 minutes to say, the Xbox One S All Digital Edition. You got to find a shorter, more catchy acronym for that Microsoft. That's like as bad as Nintendo's names for their consoles. Now, this is Microsoft testing to see how successful this will be. Will people embrace a discless console where they either have to download the games, buy games and trade them in for a code and then download the game, or just sign up for Xbox Game Pass? And first-party games from Microsoft, few and far between they are right now. I know they bought a whole bunch of companies and next gen's going to have a lot more first-party content, but first-party games, as soon as they come out, are on Xbox Game Pass. So they want to see if people are willing to have a system where they can't go to a GameStop or a Best Buy and buy a Blu-ray of their game and put it in their system. And as a person who has become, two things. Let me backtrack a little bit. Why do I have to do a hand gesture to backtrack? Because I'm Italian, that's why. I don't know why I just slapped myself either. Because I game on PC, I have embraced digital distribution for much longer than the console community has. And that's a lot of PC gamers. It's funny that I got Call of Duty World at War digitally on Steam. But when I really started getting into digital distribution when I got Fear 2. And Fear 2 required you to download Steam. And I'm like, what is this? And then I downloaded the Steam client and I installed Fear 2 and I'm like, oh, this is kind of, convenient. Like I already had it because I had Call of Duty World at War, but I'm like, okay, so why am I even going to go to the store and buy physical copies of games? Like I already had like Call of Duty and a few other games. And even though I bought Fear 2 from Best Buy for the PC, why even do that? Just download them. And then I started realizing how convenient it was. I understand there's downsides. I'm going to talk about those in a second, but it was due to Fear 2, even though it wasn't my first digital distribution game for PC, and I downloaded, like I said, Call of Duty World at War on Steam beforehand. It was Fear 2 when I went to the store, The Steam client was on there. I'm like, what the hell is this? Why do I even need the Steam client? And then I embraced it. That made me realize for PC gaming, it was very convenient. And now, fast forwarding years into the future, with the Switch, it's just easier to download the games, man. It's easier to buy them on the eShop. Yes, Nintendo needs to have less draconian return policies and actually let you do something like what Microsoft's doing, or hell, even what Sony's doing. At least Sony, if you don't download the game and you purchase it, you could return it. Nintendo doesn't even allow that. But when you have a hybrid portable system, it's just easier to have all the games on your micro SD card instead of having these tiny little discs. I sound like a friggin' boomer. Yes, I use the term boomer again. Little tiny cartridges that could get lost. I literally thought it was my own fault last year around this time that my son lost all my Nintendo Switch games. But he didn't. I was just a jackass and I left him in a pile of laundry and they were sandwiched in between. He didn't do anything. I blame my now 2-year-old son on that. I was slick. That was real slick. But point being is that there are conveniences to digital distribution. You're just going to have this Xbox One S all digital edition, and all your games are going to be right on the, hopefully at least 2 terabyte internal hard drive, Microsoft. I don't care that it's easy to just put an external hard drive. 2 terabytes. I understand $199, but you could get a $199 drive in there. Why am I still doing this? You could get a 2 terabyte hard drive in a discless $199.99 US dollar Xbox One S. You could do it. You won't lose money on it. 2 terabyte hard drives are pretty damn cheap nowadays. No, if it's 1 terabyte, I'm going to cry. Not that I'm even going to buy it anyway, but I'll still cry for the people that might buy it. But yeah, there's a lot of convenience. Point being, I need to stop rambling. There's a lot of convenience to just turn on your system, whether it be your Switch, Xbox One S, PS4, blah, 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 computer, and just have all of your stuff right on the hard drive. You pick the game and you start playing it. Or you wait for it to update. Then wait for the updates to take forever to download. Then wait for them to install. They need to fix that with next generation. It drives me insane. But you get my point. All your games are on the hard drive. Don't have to worry about discs. Don't have to worry about mess. It just is there. You turn the system and generally just start playing. But are there downsides to a all-digital console like the Xbox One S All-Digital Edition? Change that name. Change it. Yes, of course there are. Say you buy a game and you don't like it. Even if you have, like, say you buy a game, you play 2 hours of it for 14 days, because you have, Microsoft's very liberal. They give you 14 days. I think you have up to 2 hours that you can play. Say you play an hour and a half, like, oh man, this game's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. And then you play 3 hours, and then it's like, oh, this game kind of sucks. Guess what? And you had it for 2 weeks. Guess what? You're stuck with it. Now, if you had a physical copy, well, this is a little bit old, but say you had a physical copy of one of those games, you could trade it in at GameStop and get credit or get a measly amount of cash, but you could sell it on eBay, or you could do something with it. PC, it's different. Even if you buy a physical copy on PC, it's watermarked to your PC once you punch in the code and everything like that. But on consoles, you buy a physical copy of the game, you could sell it, you could trade it in, you could give it to your friend, you could do other things. Whereas with digital distribution, you can't do that, at least yet. Maybe they're going to work something out with next gen and make it simpler to do that, but we'll see. It's not going to be the same. Like right now, say you want, hey Rich, I really want to borrow your copy of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Here you go. Actually, I wouldn't let you do that because this is pretty much a mint copy and I want to hold on to it. But you get my point once again. So that's a downside to digital distribution. And if your internet sucks, could take you forever to download games. And if the games have big updates, like Fallout 76 with like 50 gigabyte updates, I just spin on my screen on my iPad, it takes a long time. And there are some people I know, I have some fans of my YouTube channel that told me that they have really, really bad internet. So it'll be interesting to see how this does. I live in an area where, I have super fast internet, so that wouldn't be an issue to me to just buy a game and download it. But some people it may be. So I'm very curious to see how this console does. But it's the right time for Microsoft to introduce it because people now are embracing digital distribution. More people, I've seen charts and statistics, more people are buying games digitally and there's less people buying them physically. And it's at the end of the life of the Xbox One, or towards the end of the life of the Xbox One, where there's a huge library of games that you could actually buy and download, or you could buy them from GameStop and then trade in and get a code and put the code in and download the game. So Very curious to see how it does. And because I'm an impulsive jackass, I'll probably buy one and show it to you guys and unbox it right here. And maybe we'll test it out, even though the games will look exactly the same as they would in an Xbox One S because it's the same hardware without a disc drive. But maybe I'll unbox it shirtless for you. I've lost some weight, so I won't have as much man boobage. I'm sorry about that if you're disappointed. I'm going to stop talking. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one. Had espresso this morning, that's why I'm kind of wired. Yeah.